I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a
Stomping the floppy shoes so hard, it'll lead to class delirious. You praying to stop so much, it's like you're having a religious experience. Despite all of your denials, I know that you know me and your crew. Asked you girls the last time she phoned me. Allegedly, just admit that even now you sing along. And even after I wreck you, you gotta bump my song. You should copyright loser because the dictionary cloned you. Crushed so hard, now my cleats own you. It's that umbrella guy, clutching the verbal hammer, locking you down in this inescapable syllable slammer. You wanna step up and try to oppose me? Yeah, you should ask anyone that really knows me. I'll take your bling, your girl, your dog, and move in your home, only to get out the verbal flamethrower and consume your plastic gnomes. You drip, you whip, you ride, your bride consumed by this mic hitter, just to drop them on the market to the highest bidder. It's that umbrella guy, live from the hat rack, with elbows that hit so hard you'll think it's a nuclear impact. I mean respecting you, please, that's a word you'll never earn. Yet another lesson you clowns have never learned. Along with standing tall with pride and repping values that you feel, and not fake morals you found inside your happy meal. I listen to you with your speaking style education, wondering if your parents bred with their relations. Wearing your big red nose and still thinking that you're a star, while you're forced to bump that umbrella guy inside your clown car. Yeah, it's that umbrella guy, broadcasting live to the masses. Timing out full, sorry we ran out of free passes. We gotta go further and not just expose you. Listen and believe royalty, we gotta depose you. Getting masked up because this flow is criminal. Dropping hammers so hard, they're subliminal. Unconsciously you want me to own you, as the parasol pope is set to dethrone you. And I'm out.
All right. What's up, folks? Man, the days get funnier and funnier and funnier. Welcome to a brand new week. Brand new Monday. Man, a lot of stuff popped off yesterday. I'm actually getting over being sick yesterday. Finally, the weather is hot here again. So everybody, their mother and their pets and whatever else, they're all sick here. But I'm on the rebound. Oh, man. And I could not resist bringing you this fun. I mean, we are talking about damage control. We are talking about Shara, who I will never, ever, by the way, call a jokerless. I don't care if it's name recognition or anything else. After all the serving up that she has done, man, she must be a professional volleyball player because she's serving up some fun times. I swear to God. I mean, seriously, Shara. Oh, man. There has been so much damage control because of her. They've resorted to every underhanded, nasty thing that they could call her in the world, man. And you know what? They've also... I just got to show you some good stuff tonight. Let me light my cigar real quick. You're going to love it. Tonight's going to be very entertaining. In fact, the last few days have been pretty entertaining. And you know, you can tell that Shara is fully on board. I have this habit of, I just like looking through commentary and stuff just to see what's all out there, And Yeah, like I said, it keeps getting more and more interesting. Like our last video, for example. As you go through, looking through newer comments, you'll notice every now and then poster will comment. It sticks out. You can see their comments pop up here. And people would ask things like, is this really Shara? Yes, it is, by the way, for sure. 100% know that. 100% know that. Okay. Something about this sending up red flags. And she's like, yeah, I'm sending out an SOS. Indeed. I think it's more like, smoke signals with the, how exactly do you make a middle finger out of a smoke signal? Because I think she figured that out. And then when you go through and you start looking more, like I said, you'll find fascinating ones like, hey, you have now come over to the bright side and finally see the truth. Light. You got an army of commentary yesterday. An army. And the fear, you can see it. We're going to talk about a little of that fear today. Little of that desperation. The threats, the not so hidden or not so veiled threats about, we can totally sue you. And they're morons. These people are fucking morons. Excuse my words there. I meant to add more profanity. They are, though. My God, man. I mean, sometimes they're like, what? We can sue you over emails. No, you can't. You're an idiot. Oh, I'm going to show you that. They've also started calling her things like, they've started going toward, remember, this is somebody that was supposedly friend of, we saw that video. Give me a second, by the way. Let me give some love here, kicking that off too. Al Walker, thank you for that membership. Kicking it off. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for your membership. Welcome to Tugs Thugs. I'm in a good mood tonight, baby. Oh, I love being in a good mood. Yeah, I mean, remember, again, just to point you to something from last time, just to make sure that this isn't lost in translation anywhere, from their own commentary. Their own commentary. From Bruce's own comments, which we have seen, thanks to Shara. If you have not watched her video, by the way, there's some very angry people about the 1,000 subscriber thing too. I knew there would be some anger over that. But remember, again, there's a line through this here. You can see it right there. Let me actually mute this and you can probably see it play. Well, maybe, maybe not. Let's see. Come on, play. It's playing, but I'm like, line, go away. Go the hell away. There you go. It would not roll off of the thing. I was like, come on. All right. You notice that they said at the bottom, well, come back now. Look at it. It ran away. Bruce said, obviously, Michelle calls you her closest friend, or her rather closest friend next to you. Next to you. So remember, this is a person whom was supposed to be a great friend, right? Until she had problems talking about, issues there. Then they all started trying to dump on, and go after her, and knock her back in place like they've done a few people. Now they've resorted to name calling, They've started doing things. It's fascinating. They've started making fun of her music. I thought that was beyond the pale too. I remember when, again, I went over to the blog. I had fun with the blog. Shara didn't seem to take that badly. Again, you're trading barbs. You're having a little fun, goofing off there. Lighthearted, have a little fun there. Then they're pissed off and malicious. So they're going after her music, singing. They're adopting all kinds of names. And of course, they're calling her, and I'm going to say this. I actually don't like this word. Never have liked this word, just to be honest. They've been calling her Shart, but you know what that is, right? So they've shortened it. Again, this is supposed to be somebody that they were all cool with. But it shows you what happens if you don't walk lockstep. And Shara is very keenly aware of what's going on. In fact, she calls a lot of shit out on Facebook. after her post of this video, which it's going to get really good. You know, it's funny. When I was growing up, you know, there's this thing of like guys and fart jokes. You know, all guys love fart jokes. My mom was like, no, that's too lowbrow. You don't want that. It was drilled in me, not funny. So, you know, right away, it's just not something for me. Now, the funny thing is, they're afraid that she is going to put up some more stuff. How can you tell that? Well, let me show you something. This was posted, and I think this is funny because what I'm going to do is I'm going to prove this wrong today, and then we're going to look at some fun stuff after this, okay? So let me pull this fun times up for you. Right, I want to read this to you. And then after I read this wonderful posting here, like I said, I'm going to disprove this to you. And afterwards, after I disprove this to you, then we'll look at what Shara had to say about everything. She's been delivering too. You know, remember they started making fun of her saying, oh, she'll never deliver anything. She doesn't deliver. Oh, yeah, she's delivered a few nukes already, baby. They've come and they're good. I love it. I love it. I mean, these people, they were nasty about stuff. And they got put into place for it. What's it? OMG Aggie, by the way. Thanks for the 5. Hey there, Tug. Here's some life jacket money to keep you from drowning in all that YouTube content. I know, man. I know. This is not making money anymore. Larry, oh, thank you for that. Yes, let me put on my water wings. That is actually a good idea because you know why I'm out here? Man, I got to make sure I stay safe in these YouTube waters. I do not want to drown in this content. But so this was posted by a certain channel out there. And again, I'm sure that there's a certain legal moron that's telling them that this is the way to go. I'm going to read this to you. Then, like I said, I want to slam this against the rocks pretty well just to, because it's so dumb. Let me light my cigar again. Here we go. FYI to all quote-unquote journalists, quote-unquote reporters, quote-unquote columnists, business colleagues of all times, private emails are copyrighted. Okay. Copyright protections. All emails are automatically copyrighted when they are created and fixed in a tangible form. This means that forwarding or posting an email without permission can violate copyright law. Asking for permission to use someone else's email, you should always ask the author or creator for permission. You should let them know how and where you plan to use their work. Give me 1 second. There's more of this, okay? Oh my God. Now, 1 minute. There's more. It's worth the wait. Here we go. Fair use. There are some exemptions to copyright law, such as fair use. However, publishing copyrighted works on a large scale is likely outside of these exemptions. Remember when media talks about any governmental letters or anything that's ever come up or any news story, you know, any private publications. Yeah, those all somehow fall in this. Like I said, we'll debunk this in a minute. Professional code of conduct. Many workplaces have policies about handling confidential information. Like we're at work right now, right? We're working together. Sir, this is a Wendy's. What the fucking stupid crap. Violating these policies can lead to disciplinary action or legal consequences. Oh no. Somebody's going to spank your booty. I mean, what the dumb shit is this? And then the Email and Communications Privacy Act. Oh, that one. That's good. Let's see what's there. Okay. Now, this is my favorite part of this, okay? 1 second. The ECPA protects electronic communications from unauthorized interception or disclosure. You can learn more about that from blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's talk about the ECPA. Now, the ECPA is very easy to understand because when you look at this, what are the key words here? Interception, disclosure. That's talking about going in and illegally obtaining fucking emails. You know what it doesn't actually include? It doesn't include a party that is privy to said email. When you send it to one party, they can disclose it to other people. Unless there is a caveat. Unless you're one of those Florida denizens, like Sam, Lynette. She lives in Florida, which is a two-party consent state. Now, that might actually be a problem. But Shara isn't. In fact, she, like yours truly, although I can cover it once it's out there, it doesn't matter. But once this isn't addressed to me, by the way. This is actually, again, a veiled threat to Shara. I am very sure about it. Because amidst the name calling and other things, I'm sure that there's an idiot lawyer telling them that this is the way to go forward. Oh, you can sue over anything. And you can get sued for the costs of going to court. Yeah, you rack up somebody's legal bills and shit. Oh, man, you'll be living in a box on the street later on. You go in and practice lawfare. You might actually pay for lawfare. Unauthorized. Let's see what's said about that, actually. You don't take my word for it, okay? Let's actually look up something about this. Let's go to some legal advice and answers. Okay. Now, this one actually addresses law per se. Let's just look this up real quick together, okay? Here's a lawyer discussing this question. I've seen some people, including attorneys, put in their email signatures reference to the Electronic Communications Privacy Act. You know, saying you can't share this. You know, I've seen people do that. This is private. You can't share that. However, morons, it doesn't say moron. This criminal statute applies only to intentional interception of an email or other communication, and you can see it shall not be unlawful under this chapter for a person not acting under the color of law to intercept a wire, oral, or electronic communication where such party or person is a party to the communication. That's right. If you send the email to another fucking person, they have the right to showcase it. Now, like I said, there are different consent rules to states. And here's one of the wonderful things, too. That applies to me in my state. Like if you say you live in a two-party consent state, say you call me. Let's just go with that, okay? You call yours truly, and you decide, you're going to plot this or that, and I record it. And I'm like, that's pretty fucked up. Maybe I should share that. Well, guess what? I can. In fact, you know what? I was thinking about this dare here, and I decided what would be good under law, since people are being threatened with thumbnail litigation, that I would actually share the thumbnail threat, the email that was sent to me by a certain lawyer. I would share that with their lawyers, because I can. I would share every other communication there too. Like the communications where I was being asked to cover the story. Other journalists were being asked to cover the story as well, because you can't have it both ways. You actually can't have it anyway like that when you're dealing with limited purpose public figures, but you can't ask people to cover and then say, well, don't cover if you don't agree with me. Oh, well, I rescind your ability to cover. No, you can't do that. So just make that point there. I mean, this is fucking ridiculous. My works are copyrighted. Are you fucking kidding me? They're saying this stuff about DMs too, by the way. Direct messages. Like your direct messages, again, somehow have some copyrightable or Electronic Communication Privacy Act protections. Now, attached to that, too, it's all, or where one of the parties to the communication has been given prior consent to such interception, such communications is intercepted for the purposes of committing any criminal or tortious act in violation, blah, blah, blah. So, if you were going out and committing criminal acts or something, that would be one caveat, but there's no criminal act being. In fact, they knew. Well, how did they keep referring to Shara through all of this? If you go back and you look at one of the exchanges that we saw, let me see if I have that really close. Give me 1 minute. I think I have that right here, where I accuse, the accusation of jealousy, Yeah, here it is. I actually have this one right here. Let me pull this up. They use a very interesting word that pertains to what we're talking about here. Give me 1 second. This word would be journalist. So they say that's all this is. You're jealous because you think that Tulis has become the new journalist. No, we didn't. We didn't want. You can't do anything about what Lloyd has done. No, nothing and no. We don't have a new journalist. Essentially, you're our journalist. You're part of the team. And on top of that, of course, I'm not happy with what Bruce has done here. I'm not happy with Bruce. I'm not happy with any of this. I had a team. That's what I needed. She's part of the team. She's a journalist. So I'm sure it's part of that journalist bringing them on. You're telling them to cover your story. That means you have given them an express permission to put together a fucking story about what's going on, and you let them into your communications. Why would you think that would be a smart idea? Just to do jacked up stuff. And then to talk shit about them and try to wreck them and more. Why would you think that would be a smart idea? I don't know. By the way, Wanda, thank you for that super sticker. Saw come in. You are amazing. Well, thank you. You are amazing yourself. All of you folks are amazing. You, Wanda, though, thank you. Appreciate you. By the way, let me shill for 1 mighty second. If you like this content, like, subscribe, share. You know that drill. And by the way, if you'd like to go further, think about that group of cash train that we heard about sometime in the past, because it's really fun to get on. By the way, you want to see something really funny? Seriously, if you would like to join, if you'd like to help out the channel, we are indeed indebted to you there. So thank you. Like I said, we cover this, and it's a coin flip on whether or not this will be considered. You never know what's considered appropriate. Why is it not considered appropriate? Who knows? And you can go in with YouTube and be like, I'm gonna challenge, you flagging that content for, and you'll win after about a day or a half after, all the views are gone. So they're like, well, servant your luck. But the story's bigger than views. The story is actually an important one. By the way, I think this made a little butt hurt from the other day, and I enjoy this. So another little level of butt hurt was this, and you folks helped out. Remember the whole idea that they were presenting to people, like Shizzy, for example. Let me pull this up first. I want to make this point, and then, like I said, we're going to read some fun together too. But I just want to laugh at this for a minute. Okay, remember, one of the things that was being proposed over and over again was this idea that if you covered, like this is what Bruce was telling people like Shizzy Wiznut, if you get on our train, baby, you gonna get them big views. Look at that, man. The elves do it. Their views quadruple. Man, you can get them subscribers. You gonna get them views. You gonna get it all, right, baby? You can get it all. Well, we saw what happens to people like, say, a Shara. What'd Shara get for that? She got, let me see. They wanted her to go in and spend her precious time. They wanted her to spend her precious money. They wanted her to also spend another thing. They wanted her to be morally flexible. As in, you have a problem, shut the fuck up and stay in line. And apparently that bothers people. But you know how many subscribers they gave her for that? 23. That's right. 2-3. 2-3. Then afterwards, they started laughing about it. There would be commentary from these assholes saying, you ain't never gonna get to 1,000 subscribers. Like they were helping out somehow. You know, like they were driving this channel. They were gonna get it there, right? No. Something about that, you know, it struck me as a challenge the other day. And I thought, Shara is very entertaining right now. If nothing else, for the entertainment factor, Shara deserves that 1,000. Just because, in the words of Gladiator, are you not entertained? Yeah, baby. Yes, Russell Crowe, I am entertained. Let me get old Russell Crowe. What's up, Russell? Let me see. Let me find him. He needs to be here with me. Come here, Russell. Oh, there you are, Russell. Actually, I need to load that into my freaking stage here. Give me a second. I think we need that on here because the more of this that happens, I think I need to refer to that a little bit more. Let me take out something. Let me see. This looks good. Let's delete that. And we'll put old Russell Crowe in here. Because are you not entertained? Yes, Shara, I am entertained. In fact, I feel like a lot of us were entertained. So we were like, hey, maybe we could drive that above that number. Not only that, just for good measure, since there were 23 of them, if they all decided that, you know, if they were indeed, that assumes too that they were actually the people that added those 23. It wasn't just other people that were curious. We'd add those in too. So there you go. 1.38K. Apparently that's touched off a few nerves too. And interestingly, as people flood in, notice those hits on that video that's been up there. Because, you know, Shara, if you didn't watch this and didn't keep up with what happened, she let us know some pretty fascinating stuff. Let me just give you the high point on that, and then we'll get to what she's been talking about. You know, again, after the ugly starts. Oh, you knew it was coming too. You knew it was coming. So what Shara did was she showed us many things that were happening. Like the fact that she backed up the idea that she did have a problem with stuff that was going on. She absolutely did have a problem with that. Not only that, but you could see through conversations when she was bringing this up, she wanted $311 back too because she felt like she had been ripped off. The lawyer for that person told her, she was like, I don't want to make a public stink about this. You know, I'm going to you for it. And he's like, what do you want me to do about that? I'm just their lawyer. And it's like, wait a minute, but you're their lawyer. I'm like, that's the kind of stuff that you bring to your clientele, right? Maybe you or your PR people could do that. But they didn't. They're like, fuck you, basically. Go public then. How'd that work out? Oh, how did that work out? Maybe that was a challenge you shouldn't have gone with. What do you think, Russell? Oh, thank you, Russell Crowe. I knew it. I knew Russell Crowe had a good opinion of this. By the way, let me thank some people real quick. Mamie Du Bois, thank you for that gifted membership. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Good times today. Sandra D, also, thank you for the gifted membership. 2 of them. Chef's kiss. Love it. Thank you all. Oh, I'm in a good mood tonight. Write a check. Thanks for the 2 there. You know I love that groupie cash. Train emoji choo choo. It's right. Love it too. It's good times there, you know. Also, give me 1 second. Let me pull up something. 18 you 1 second here. It'll take me 1 second. Okay. Let's pull up. Yeah, actually, here. So somebody notes this. Let's go back to this real quick. Okay. So somebody was like, "Hey, Jack. By the way, thanks for the 2. Tug. He didn't further read part of 18 USC 2511. Well, that's true. We should actually look at a little of 18 USC 2511. You know, because it is a very fascinating read when you start going through it, especially with the notwithstanding portions. You know, because when you go through and you actually what they like to quote here. This, give me 1 second. What they enjoy quoting. They quote so many laws they know nothing about. I love it. I do. Like, look what they're quoting here. Interception and disclosure of wire, oral, or electronic communications prohibited. So they go through all the rules for this, you know, defining what they are, how this will take place, and they actually lay out what is not unlawful in this too, you know, how exactly this works. Because it's fascinating. First of all, I don't think they understand what intercepting or endeavoring to intercept wire, oral, or electronic communications actually means. Because like I said, you know, when we're talking about that, you're not intercepting them. if you and I are having a communication, I'm not going out and intercepting your communications. Like, I don't know how to make that any plainer. Again, you could read it, but I don't know how to make this any plainer. I'm not going in there. You're sending it to me, moron. You made me part of it. Also, beyond that, if you include me, and we saw this play out publicly, big time once. Okay, I did a lot of coverage for the Depp case, so I'll refer to it back there because again, we learned a lot from the Depp case on things like this too. During part of that, there was the Australian debacle. You know, dogs and an assistant that Amber Heard tried to pin this stuff up on. And during that, you had a lawyer, Marty Singer, one of the biggest lawyers in Hollywood. He was brought in. And when he was brought into this fray, he and Amber Heard, they were communicating about bringing in another party to ask them to do something. And Marty Singer was very explicit. He was like, don't do this. Don't ask them to do something that you might regret, essentially. Again, paraphrasing. If you don't know, you know, how they stand on something, maybe you shouldn't bring them in. But she did anyway. She brought in 2 people. She brought in an ex-assistant who she wanted to pin everything on. Brought them into the conversation. But she brought in, you know, the guy who told us all about the pooping on the bed thing? Yeah, that guy. She brought that guy into the conversation. The property manager. That guy had a real problem with what she did. So he ended up disclosing these communications. And of course, Marty Singer tried to shut that down. He's a very powerful lawyer, by the way. We're not talking about some dime store fucker. We're talking about one of the most prominent lawyers on the face of the freaking earth. Definitely Hollywood's go-to lawyer. But one of the most prominent lawyers on planet Earth. This guy, he couldn't stop it because they brought him in to confidential disclosure. So, you know, when you have these protected discussions with clients, If Shara was ever privy to any conversation that happened with that or something that's being said, she absolutely has the right to disclose that. 100%. And again, that would make sense to you, right? Period. But we saw that play out in case, in a case itself. Now, again, them making threats, when they mention this kind of stuff, most people are not going to go in and read it. They're going to be like, oh, gotcha, right? I mean, look at all the words. It's got so many words. It must be bad, right? I mean, hey, look at all this. That's why you and I are not going to sit here and read every freaking word on it. But it's so ridiculous here. So ridiculous to bring this in and pretend that this somehow sets some kind of precedent where Shara couldn't bring up Dee's communication. And I wonder, too, I figure it's also to keep us from talking about what's been communicated as well. If you bring up those emails, well, again, they weren't sent to me, but the ones that were sent to me, they're 100% my emails. And the fuck you say, I'm not going to share them. I typically do not share emails, by the way, but I do not take very well to being threatened by some asshole out there. I personally, like I said, I make it, if you contact me in good faith, I don't make it a point to burn people for that. But I'll tell you, some jackass out there wants to continually threaten. They've been playing this game too. There were no threats to sue now. Are you kidding me? It's that wording game again. I can guarantee you won't be sued for this if that is a threat to sue. That's 100% a threat to sue. Remember the Lego discussion, by the way? Remember the email I got about the thumbnail thing that right after it, we had a lawsuit? Yeah, that was definitely a threat to sue. They didn't even have to say it was going to sue in there. Because you know what? The people who didn't comply the way they wanted, look at DUI guy. I mean, was that not a threat to sue? Huh. Like I said, too, that's very interesting. And I did turn this over to a lawyer, too. I don't make that very clear there, too, because you have no fucking right to tell me I can't. Because you sent me the same kind of threat. And then right after that, you asked me to cover the airport photographs and sent me photographs of Michelle Preston, her child, family members. In fact, said if I didn't cover it, that I was lying to audiences and more. You're either entrapping me there, trying to make me part of litigation, or then you sent me and Megan, sent us a threat about not sue. Then you told us, you can continue to keep all those videos up from the past. So you gave us permission too, on top of it. Seems like some kind of weird entrapment. So yeah, fascinating. But those are my emails. I can send them wherever the fuck I want to. You send them to me. And again, can someone sue you over that? Sure. But here's the thing about lawfare like that. Threatless like that will scare people that can't defend themselves. I feel like I'm in a position comfortable enough where I can fundraise a defense. And not only that, but I'll return volley and sue back. Oh, you better believe it. I will counter sue. I'll make sure to do that. But I think I'd have to get in line at this point. 1 second, I must call. Sorry, I must clear my throat. The other things in this, though, that were fascinating, again, that she noted, were the fact that we had the talk about Veteran Nation. Remember, they weren't trying to take down Veteran Nation, except Bruce telling us that he encouraged people to report Veteran Nation's video and get his channel shut down. So he wasn't trying to shut channels down, but he's encouraging people to, remember, they said they weren't false flagging. They weren't going out trying to take channels down. They weren't encouraging people to do that. Well, here it is behind the scenes. They've been setting it up. And my favorite one of these, let's see, where is it? Well, actually, there's two of these here. My two favorites, I'm going to say. You have Bruce saying, I spoke to her earlier. Michelle says she's totally trustworthy. Her text me, anything to help. Taking Hales out. Taking Hales out. That sounds like a weird conspiracy. To which Shara actually said, I'm not interested in taking him out. I'm just interested in justice for his target. So even at the time, she's like, yo, I'm not interested in taking him out, which is strange because, we were talking about, I thought about this the other day. We were talking about what taking him out meant. If it was just about going in and quote unquote getting justice, even Shara didn't get that parallel. She was like, yo, wait a minute. She didn't have the feeling it was just about quote unquote getting justice. She had to say, that's not what I'm here for. At the time, again, she said her perception were that these people were targets and she was helping out. She was trying to get justice. But they're talking about taking him out. And on top of that, of course, my favorite was when they want to take him out, see him go under. This is part of it as well. We need to expose him. He needs to go under. They're going to take him off YouTube permanently. And of course, Bruce, the two L's, everybody is building an anti-what-the-hales ecosystem. They're building that anti-what-the-hales media ecosystem. All this talk about taking someone down, ruining them again. Tortious interference, say what? Fascinating disclosures, right? This is what starts that, okay? And then it gets more interesting. So when we start looking at the post here for all of this stuff. Now, some of these may be a little smaller to see. Let me see how you can blow these up, okay? All right, give me 1 second here. Now, check this out. So the post to highlight this stuff on the ye old Facebook. Here's ye old Facebook. Here's the post for that on the 9th. Well, you'll notice we have posts that pop up over the last few days. Many of them. So the entertainment just gets better and better. More and more fun. Shall we read some of these together? Oh, by the way, too. Tish, what's up? Thanks for the 5 there. Wonder how Deuce met the fleas. I mean, I could see Deuce leading them around on dog lead. I don't know, actually. I have no idea. It is interesting. I mean, there was all this recruitment drive. I do wonder. What's fascinating is apparently they brought up their first meeting email, too, the other night. Maybe I should bring that up. I might have to pull that. Either that, maybe we'll save that for tomorrow night. I've got a lot for tonight, okay? I've got a lot. Tomorrow we'll be on with Megan. Oh, Megalodonus Foe will be fun. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get to that one too. Let me get these two over here too. Amy, thanks for the 3 months there. Welcome aboard the Gribby Cash train, Shara. I know. Hey, she was actually the inventor of that. So she was the head architect. Travis, was it Travis? I don't know about that guy. But for my MC days, those words meant a completely different thing. And go under. Yeah. It's a lot of death talk for a lawyer to be saying. It does sound, it sounds threatening. At best case scenario, the lawsuits about tortious interference. Again, if you're talking about taking somebody's business down, I mean, there you go. A-B relationship, and you see yourself in, you aren't part of an A-B relationship. Party C doesn't involve itself. That's not allowed. It sounds a little questionable. So let's see what Shara has to say, though. So Shara is pointing out, There's a lot of discussion here. I mean, there's a lot of it, you know? Shara actually posts quite a bit here, but she also notes, for the record, I do feel terrorized by the 2 F's, but my heart is a diamond for the innocent. She's like, yo, I'm hard. You'll mess with me, She posted this too. She put that up. Shara, wow. Not see his show yet. I'm out of town. We'll check it out Monday. She was like, told Kate, congrats on the subs. Thank you for sharing your receipts. Even What the Hales praised you in the chat during Tug's show. Also, please stay safe as the 2 leeches and Turtle Pond scum group are tad nuts. She was like, well, I haven't seen it yet. And again, the whole point, I personally, first of all, commend somebody that decides that they're going to go out. And despite all of the threatening that they say that's going on behind the scenes, and you can see it. I have no doubt it happened because I see threats that are happening in real. I heard them, but then I hear more. I've seen them, how they turn on anybody that remotely steps up. Shara, like I said, they're afraid of her. So 100%. I think she's been entertaining enough. She, first of all, what she's doing there, she holds a lot of information. That's why they wanted to silence her. She's been privy to a lot of discussions, and they're now figuring out something. They're figuring out that she wasn't just marching lockstep as she was having problems and bringing them up. And they were basically saying, get back in line. That more and more that was chipping away that. And like she said, she missed a couple of statements as you went along through all of this. She missed a couple of statements because of the topics. The topics, they're easy to miss too. Like you had a neighbor dispute. That's where the pop you in the mouth statement to the child comes up. That's easy to miss because it's like 2 minutes and something into that. So even if you pick it up and you start through it, it seems like it might be pointless to listen to if you didn't go through every single thing. And what's fascinating, she brought up another thing that we have yet to hear about. And I'm wondering if it's about Jamie Johnson. Because she noted someone else having issues or bringing things up. This was in a public post, by the way. I'm not talking about anything private, like none of that. There's no discussion about any private talk there. Like this is all public, baby. This is all public. She said that that there was another friend, and she brought up some stuff with Jamie Johnson with a fishing expedition, which I'll show you again just to make sure it's all in one place there too. She's also asking questions, and then she makes a statement too. So she asked, did Super D send in $50 for his free advertisement prison style fence banner yet? Or is he too busy mopping the floors for Boss Man? Oh shit. Hell, she's like fucking blazing in public. Read that again. She's like, did Super D, by the way, at least it's a big D, right? Sending this $50 for his free advertisement prison style fence banner yet? Or is he too busy trying to mop the floor for Boss Man? Holy shit. Man, that's pretty fucking just straight up. Mop that floor for Boss Man. Oh my God. I hear that. We're not gonna take it. Oh my God. It's funny stuff. They got her riled up, and with good reason. I mean, they talk shit for a long time. Like, being fair about it, man. I mean, she ate this stuff for a long time. And again, if you're like that and you just see this on its own, actually, let me add this back in here, okay? Just to make sure that you understand something. If you see that on your own and they're like, what's up with that? By the way, I forgot to pull that Travis one down. Love to you, Travis. I forgot to pull that down. I get busy reading shit and laughing. I'm like, whoops. But if you go back to that original statement, you can see where she addresses things. She's like, hey, are there any thoughts on your client's threat to a small special needs child to hit the child in the mouth who was joyfully interacting in the background in her call to law enforcement? I don't know any mother who threatens innocent children in the way she does, including threats with melatonin sedation, with consistent anger. Regardless of stress, the heart does not ever. This is the first time I've heard that call, and it confirms my concerns were accurate. Hitting in the mouth is not considered corporal punishment. Threatening to do so is what the child is hearing regularly. She told me she never hits the child, but told the sheriff and CPS she hits the child on that body cam just published. The sheriff delayed its release to me until yesterday. I requested it first. JH got it first. I'm not your problem, Bruce. I told you my concerns from the start, and your client, and Marla and Redacted, who told me she agrees with hitting children, are lying to you about me in details of the case and what was done to me by them a year ago. Michelle apologized and begged me back only to use me and lie to me, or lie about me and trash me again. But contacting and lying people I'm trying to help in this case is unacceptable harassment. You're an attorney, and I've asked you for the return of my $311 because she lied to me regarding and immediately called me a C. I'm going to say that's a see you next Tuesday. And an abuser. Again, how many people have been called abusers? After taking more of my money, a little behind-the-scenes campaign to harm is with others, all unacceptable. If you continue to ignore my request for the return of the $311, then I must contact GoFundMe for the return. I'm trying to avoid that by coming to you first. You're ignoring my attempts. So again, she tried to voice this, and it continued to. Now, look at the response to that. Like I say, what I don't understand is how you are controlling all the YouTubers covering this case. I think you're saying they're controlling all the YouTubers' case when you and your YouTubers are doing the same to them. So she's like, hey, you are controlling these YouTubers. So straight up, again, you saw all the other statements about control of YouTubers and things, building the anti-Hales media ecosystem. She's calling that out. She's like, hey, I don't understand how you can say they're doing that when you're doing this. It doesn't make sense for the cause. How does that help your case apart from making you famous? And what he responds in this is fascinating because he's basically like, I ain't doing shit. I'm responsible for your $311. It's ridiculous for you to involve me in that. I don't understand why you can't understand my role, obligations, constraints. I'm a lawyer and a client whose interest in court I'm protecting and pursuing. And she was like, okay, all right. So if you're like, hey, she's being unfair, man. She tried to communicate with these people. She very much did. And they were like, yo, go talk to somebody else. She's like, all right, maybe I'll talk to the public. If you're going to keep trashing, because it wasn't just behind the scenes. She tried to handle it behind the scenes. She kept her mouth shut. One time. She made noise about it. One time. Think about what was discussed there. There was the discussion again. Apparently, this is so untoward to do, right? She had a problem apparently with not just melatonin, but also with a plan that she mentions. Somebody was talking about and a couple of dogs. She had a problem with that. If I knew about that, I'd have a problem with that too. You don't need to be taking out people's pets. You don't need to be involving me in that shit. You don't need to be letting me know about your conspiracy to do that. That's a bad thing. I can understand why you wouldn't want to be involved in that. It makes sense. you know. Did you notes here? Like this. This is actually very good. Interesting stuff right here. Oh, by the way, let me hit these real quick. Al Walker thanks for the 5. Bubbles keeps posting his case strategy, and Jeremy's lawyers are most likely licking their chops. Yeah, well, actually, it isn't just posting strategy. I mean, again, he's saying the parts that you don't say out loud behind the scenes and in front of shit. He talked about delaying cases intentionally and doing all this other shit, like stuff you don't admit to. Like, geez, are you doing it? My God. It's like, welcome to Amateur Hour. I mean, Lord. Amateur Hour, the movie, baby. PDW. Thanks for seeing that. Love you, Tuck. Hey, love you return. I appreciate you sincerely with that. Thank you. I'm having a very excellent night tonight. Thank you all. And Amy, thanks for the 22 months. Look at that. Loving them hearts. Love it. Thank you. Sue Scott also. Thank you. Fine there. Shara's smart. She's releasing info to back herself up. Yes, that's smart. Yeah. Well, kudos. Well played, Shara. Bits at a time. Yeah, make sure you find it all. And when they've gone out and they've tried to call it out, give me one second. I can call them. I have to clear my throat here and there. I'm trying not to do that on the microphone. You know, you do have to listen to my lighter. One is not with the other, by the way. One is sinal related, and the other is this is how I keep myself from like blowing a gasket some days, because I laugh and stuff, but some of this stuff really does frustrate me, you know, because I'm like, how dumb can you be? How dumb? I mean, it's like they want to help somebody win a case. And on top of it, like I said, they're desperate enough. Again, they're talking about emails. Well, I'm very sure that those are, when you look at it, who are those aimed at? Again, of course, they would want to aim it at folks like us. But it doesn't matter, man. You put this stuff out in public, we can cover whatever the fuck we want to. Straight up. So who would they really be aiming at? They'd be aiming at a Shara. They want to keep Shara quiet. Shara knows too much. She knows way too much. Slug had some answers. You know, Slug gave us some answers when they went after him, and been quiet about stuff since then. You know, because again, they started going after. I mean, they tried to tank his mental health. Like I'm sure they made the same kind of threats to him as they've made toward Shara. God knows. I wonder what else. I wonder what else has been said about anybody. God, I'm waiting for the leaks that include some of the rest of us, you know. I wonder what has been said there. Shara, though, has been smart not to say anything publicly that she didn't back up. So she says one statement for the record, as I won't be able to respond until next week. Ooh, I won't be able to respond till next week. Now, she has a good track record right now. You know, it became like a back and forth joke with articles. Now, maybe I understand the article issue that Shara had a little bit more now. Maybe part of her article issue was that she had some kind of inner conflict going on. Like she was looking at things and that she felt that she was backing something that was right, but she kept digging for more and more information. Maybe that explains a little more of the Freedom of Information Act requests, because, you know, she's backing up what she thinks is the point that she's bought into. Because, you know, people lead with their hearts. They do. You know, kids, protecting children will take you a long ways. Maybe she's running into a little problem there, though. Maybe she'll run into a little problem if she was seeing things that she didn't like. Because she said she walked away from the case a few times. She'd be back in. She'd come back, leave, come back, leave. You know? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's more chaos, more issue. Maybe you were seeing proof of it and never really understood it. Like that. Maybe that's the answer. Because when I'm seeing exchanges and stuff, there is definitely static. And she's mentioning, you don't know what she did to me going back a year ago. So we're going all the way back. Then these issues have gone on for quite some time. And maybe, you know, when you're seeing all this stuff publicly, maybe it reads a little different. Again, you know, you make up your mind and you have confirmation bias. It happens. You get the blinders on. But if you're doing research too, when you start seeing stuff, it does open up your eyes. And once you open them all the way, whoa, man, you start to realize how many pieces of that puzzle you have, and it disturbs you, you know? But she knows. What they are doing is extreme slander. Extreme slander. And yeah, they've said a lot, man. The one way that she can, again, put them in their place for it all. She can show receipts. You know, because again, they brought her into the conversations. They made her privy to all of it. They knew what her role was as part of it. She said she never hid the fact that she was a journalist. Never. She never hid it. She used that word all the time. And they may have thought that meant all our journalists. But that just meant journalists. That meant somebody that's telling you point blank they're covering a story. And they were wanting her to write a story. They wanted her to go out and write pieces. They wanted her to make videos. They wanted her to put out details. Well, now not only can she do that, but she puts out a few of them and she can actually become a paid journalist. That's right. Now that may not, that I'm not saying that's her intention, but you know what? They kept saying that she was not a real journalist. Well, what makes you a real journalist? Getting paid for your work? Publication of items? Again, indie journalists these days are a lot different. You ain't got to go and be part of like the Washington Post or, you know, even independent like places. You can run your own channels. You can do your own thing. Get paid for that work. So, yeah. They've talked a lot of shit. Like I said, they're building up a resume and everything else. Isn't that funny? Diane says, thanks for the 10. How dumb can you be? A fool thinks himself to be wise, while a wise man knows himself to be a fool. Indeed, indeed. You know, the ego, I watch a few people suffer from this issue lately. I watch ego, it's snatching defeat from the jaws of at least perceived victory. Maybe you don't have a win, but at least you perceived it. Now you got to look at that and say, God, there has to be a loss, right? For one, no one has ever received felonies due to me. So, you know, some of the stuff they've been spreading around, these are things that are motivating her to be loud because she's like, oh, you're trashing my character. You're trashing and saying horrible stuff, you know? Also, Slug, thanks for the 5 there. Technically, I'm a published journalist on my YouTube community tab, videos I've uploaded, and my Substack. Yes, indeed. Actually, you know, again, YouTube, this day and age, what makes a journalist? Like, there's arguments from legacy media, but you notice legacy media is coming over and doing the same thing we are. Can't have it both ways. You can't pretend that this isn't journalism. And, you know, again, like, you know, Substack, publication there, publication to community tabs. Yeah. But video research, I mean, again, that's what many of these outlets do now. Some of them don't even put out written columns anymore. They actually don't do any research either. You're probably more of a research journalist or an independent journalist than most of those people are, just because you've done a little bit of research on something, on anything, you know. Most of them, the most research they've done is, you know, probably a business write-off at a freaking a Chinese buffet. They were like, hey, I'm going to go out and get a fortune cookie. And they read the inside. They're like, that's journalism. I did some research. Anyway, she continues. In fact, my results helped much more than ever stated. She is free. And the judge said I was appreciated on the record. So they're saying that she's caused people to get felonies? And she's like, yo, not only I've done work, but I've done good work. Like, I don't know her background, like I said, for legit. I think that would be an interesting conversation. If whoever wants to have it, I'm sure that she needs to make sure how she gets everything together and whatnot. But if she wants to do that, like I said, I am more than happy to. Megan will be more than happy to sit down and just talk about the background too. Make it all understood. No adversarial now. We could sit down and joke around stuff, have fun. I think it might be fun. Cut up for a while. Have a good time. Have a laugh. But also, there would be questions, of course. But she's answering questions now. She's not hiding things. Fun time. But I mostly work in the background. I'm not here for fame, as quote unquote others are. There's you another call out because, she just made it. She made it clear in the statement that she said about, Brucey Bruce. Again, she had asked him. What I don't understand is how, you're saying, it's missing a word, controlling all the YouTubers covering this, when you and your YouTubers are doing the same to them. Doesn't make sense for the case. How does that help your case apart from making you famous? So, I think I know where that's aimed toward. I'm not here for the fame, unlike her other. Now, she didn't name a name, to be fair. So she didn't say which others, and that is plural, others. So, yeah. Outrageous and unacceptable. See, they were saying that she's a fame seeker. She was also trying to say that they were also trying to say that she was riding their coattails. I was like, do what now? Do what? She's never been part of us. She never claimed to be part of you. In fact, I think that all of those statements were great motivation for her to release that thing about what Bruce said about her being considered a friend and everything else. They wanted her to go in and do the dirty work. You're her friend, baby. You're a friend to these people. Why don't you be a friend? Why don't you help it out? Snaky. Snake chorus. No. Stinking song, man. Always in my head. Travis thinks about, if I catch another case, I'd rather get blacked out drunk and rip myself in court before I hurt this guy. I feel bad for this journalist. And now the stuff like what's really bad though is, again, the threats for lawfare. The threats of suing people repeatedly, even if you're going to talk about it, because this brings up more and more, like he's doing his client a very grave disservice. And I don't feel like I'm going out on a limb and saying, due to a track record of what I've seen publicly, what's going to happen when a certain client doesn't feel that he did a good enough job? Do you think said client is going to be quiet about it? No. You know what client is going to do? They're not only going to go out and trash, they also have all of the exchanges that have been there. And that could very well publish those. And if there have been any promises, especially, promises to win cases and all of this stuff, man, you got to wonder. You got to wonder what's all back there. And if they're mad about what Shara has access to, imagine what client has access to. Client doesn't care about making themselves look bad either. They made it clear. It's all in the spin machine, baby. Let's see. Everything they, with MP in the background feeding them, stated last night is lies. So you see that. She was like, yo, everything they're saying. And guess what? In the background, the person feeding that is Michelle Preston. Now, that statement there, who's feeding them? If they want to be like, oh no, that's actionable. Oh no. She actually has something to refer to with that too. What, you might ask? Well, that's fascinating as well. Remember, there was an exchange that we were also privy to, one that she was privy to, that we see. And that was this little fishing expedition here. Remember, we heard the answering machine. Actually, I want to play the little answering machine portion at the very end of that video too. But there's this statement, the girls. Shara, is Jamie hiding out? The girls want to chat with her. What? What girls? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, the two L's. She's like, what's up with that? You know? Like, what for? Where's all this being discussed without me? Like, oh, Jeremy's talking about her on the videos. And she's like, and? and what? You know, what's up? And that's where you get the jealousy thing, you know, when it goes in. Because she's like, you know, she makes claims about Jeremy, making nasty claim. He came back, goes up. That's going to be real bad. Talking about him supposedly getting fired, making accusations about sexting, you know, stuff that, oh, and then when she doesn't want to get involved with this stuff, I mean, and then there are other exchanges again, you know. She also said that, I thought this was fascinating, you know, again, I'm going to say more at this time because you need Bruce. But one thing I will say is Lee's making mistakes. And it's going to come back at this case. I'm purposefully keeping myself out of that gig. I do not. Hey, journalist, I'm about necessary facts appropriately published. Be careful. She's like, be careful. And that's when she gets told that she's jealous and stuff. She's just like, yo, they're messing up. You need to be careful. That's when she tells you all jealous and stuff and this stuff, you know? That's when the replacement stuff comes in, you know? But she's also, again, fishing behind the scenes. That's why they want to talk to Jamie. They want to do this. They want to do that. So when she's talking about feeding behind the scenes, seems like an appropriate statement, right? I have zero concern of any harm from Jeremy. Zero. I have zero concern of any harm from Jeremy Hales. Zero. So she's been out there covering things, no matter what's been stated or anything else. She's saying, hey, I have no concern about him doing harm. It's them. I worry about them. She's talked about safety concerns and everything else. And now she's making it clear that those safety concerns and all these other concerns, she has zero concerns of any harm. Any harm. Huh. Fascinating, right? I find at the end of my collection in this case, he is not the dangerous one in this case. He is not the dangerous one in this case. Huh. He's not the dangerous one. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Give me 1 second. I need to do something real fast. I think that's interesting. Why in the fuck am I getting recommended all this? I was making sure that I did something real fast. Give me 1 second. Why am I getting recommended like tons of political bullshit. I saw my YouTube page when I was going by, and I saw the recommends, and it's like, wait a minute, why am I getting recommended this garbage? Anyway, sorry, I got distracted for a second there. He was like, hey, why don't you watch these political videos? I'm like, no, I don't want to watch that. You know? Oh, I want to watch the fun times. I was checking something in tags. I was making sure I tagged something so people in the after video could find that. And also, like I said, if you're on Facebook, if you're not on Facebook, this stuff is interesting to watch. I don't really use Facebook that much, but I do watch this kind of stuff. And she's out here saying again, Jeremy, when she's at the end of collecting all of her stuff for this story, she feels he's not the dangerous one in this case. I think that's a really telling statement there. It is MP that lied to me, leading me to believe he is dangerous. And after all I've collected, I find this to be lies. So she's saying the reason that she thought he was dangerous before is because she was lied to. Isn't that interesting? I went in and looked at everything. And after I looked at everything, come to the conclusion that what she was saying was lies. He's not the dangerous one. I have not seen any videos of Jeremy Hale pulling G's from his pocket or leaving loaded G's in closets where children play. And that is actually, there are pictures, by the way, that back up what she's saying. They're out there again. They're out there trying to shoot down any statement saying, that's not there. That never happened, right? Well, remember, we actually did have all of the photos for evidence. And all of those photos for evidence, they do actually back up the statements there. Remember, the photos for evidence, I mean, you could just whip through these, everything when the old pew is popped up and what she's talking about, you can see, wonder what's up with that, or, what's up with that? Well, you can see the picture of that there, but you can also see like in closets, as you roll through, these are all you can see wait, what's this? What's the little kids stuff and the little kids markings all over the walls with that? All of this is around. Look in the middle of all that. Look at the old 38 specials, I mean, going through again, you see everything here. We know what was in the drawers. We saw that and so on. So again, there's something, again, if you really want to deny and be like, yo, that's all fabricated and false. No, unless you 100%. There also, he's not a mad drunk all day, pulling metal on passerbys. Indeed, they themselves said that he drinks all day. Multiple people said that. And we found out again that he did brandish that. She herself admitted to knowledge that he had pulled out the old pew and they hid it. They set it aside and disappeared it until there was a search warrant. Now I got thinking about why you would turn it over once the search warrant. Well, because they got a search warrant. They're on your fucking property. Of course, they're going to find it. Get ahead of it and be like, yo, that exists. Oh, yeah. She's like, Jeremy's not the one popping out the old pew on the passerbys. And I've confirmed many of his concerns in records and conversations with MP. So she's like, yo, and if you're going to call her on that, here's the wonderful thing. When they say that she's a liar and that stuff she's saying isn't true, she's noting, hey, I've confirmed many of his concerns, both in records and in conversations with MP. So maybe this is the person they should have been talking about. Again, calling Shart. Maybe they just should have kindly gave her $311 back and been like, hey, we appreciated you. And went along their merry way and shut the fuck up about it. And if she had a problem with how somebody was being treated, being like, yeah, you know, we hear you. We disagree, but that's okay. If somebody knows about your conspiracy to build an what the hell's media ecosystem and to take him down and do all this stuff, maybe they're not the person to call out. I'm just saying. But I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did, because they didn't know how to hide that. Jesse, by the way, thanks for the 2. Everybody hit that like button. That's right. Smash that like button. Smash it. Smash that like button. Suzanne, thanks for the 10. That quote-unquote locked drawer where the 2 pubes had big gaps big enough for HG's little hands to reach in. Yeah, it had those, the pull drawer portions. I wouldn't call that secure for sure. For sure. And thanks for the 5 there. Jeremy just wants them to F off. To F off the mountain. Yeah, Jeremy just wanted, now he wants, well, the thing is that, again, they did indeed defame him. They called him the worst thing you can call a person. They called him a child artist. Now, they didn't want to stand behind those statements, of course. They didn't want to stand behind the signs. They say they didn't write those signs. They didn't post those. Oh, wait. John posted those signs. My bad. They want to stand behind that, right? And of course, after you have statements like that, plus let's not even talk about the weird thing with the tracker. We don't even need to talk about the descriptors added in there. That kind of stuff will motivate you. It'll motivate you to be like, yo, the truth of the matter is this. This is what's going on. Very much motivates you. And again, we're seeing these people are eating themselves. They celebrate every horrible thing that comes along. They burn down people that are in the know. I do not agree with his approach and supported MP's legal team full-heartedly on her lies due to my feelings on his approach. So the approach, that's what got her there. She supported lies because she got, that's the thing a lot of people get distracted by. They want somebody, you see this with all types of fucking garbage. I saw this in like a Depp, again, going back to that case. You remember, like, we would hear about all of this abuse. The man lost a finger and stuff, but oh my God, he got upset and slammed cabinets. Holy shit, what a monster. It's like, wait a minute, what? What? He didn't like being called a child artist? Huh. Somehow, here's the thing. People get this idea that somehow you're obligated to nicety when people treat you like absolute shit. Here's the thing. There's nicety and there's legality. You don't have to be friends or friendly with them. You can dislike the hell out of people. People, yes, they get caught up in gruffness. They don't like certain things. that always works as a good smokescreen. Or, even more so, the spin to said approach. Oh, really? Look at this. Again, it's classic smoke and mirrors. Let's see. There was one video in where JH did make legal threats toward me in response to a lawsuit MP filed that her lawyer produced to sue multiple YouTubers. And I responded briefly months ago to her attorney strictly due to my inability to travel. Suitcase emoji, due to health. There was also one empty concerning statement JH stated toward me a year ago that I did not pursue because in time I came to realize it was all talk. Now that I understand this case, I understand his desperation and concerns and how he saw me initially as a threat to his cause. Yeah, here's the thing. If you're in there and you're pursuing something wholeheartedly, and you 100% believe there's a conspiracy going on, which I would say, again, some of the stuff we saw, notes, again, people wanting to put you under, take away everything you have, building up, again, an ecosystem that's totally anti-you. They're going to think you're in on it. In fact, after seeing that, I do wonder who all that includes. I really do. I wonder who all is included in that. Who is privy to the plan? Who has had communications like that? I feel like it's been a case of point the finger at the other people and accuse them of what you're doing. These people, they point the finger all the time and they talk about all this conspiratorial nonsense and the puppet master and all this other bullshit. And then you find out, oh, I see why. The best obfuscation. Blame the other guy. Reminds me of the political or social strategies every time we see. Now, if you ask me, who's sofa? Look at that sofa emoji. I would sleep on all night with my eyes closed. JH or MP, I/JC. The answer would be Jeremy Hale's 100 Nights. So, when you get down to it, talking about safety concerns and things, if you ask me whose sofa I would be able to sleep on, close my eyes and feel safe in. Like, whose house would I enter and actually feel safe in? If I had to pick out one of these, I would say his 100 Nights. Huh. That's interesting. The other thing too, the other thing in describing this is she's not, I find it to be more genuine when you note that you had concerns because of this, that, or the other. When I look at this and I say, I noted this or I did that, this is what I thought, I find that to be more genuine. It's not saying, hey, I didn't say or do X, Y, or Z. I said or did X, Y, or Z because I thought that this person, I believed in what they were saying and they were lying to me. But when I look at everything, yeah, I think that's, again, if you look at everything that we say, everything, you really think that other people feel like, hey, if I fell asleep on the couch with one or the other, who would you feel safe with? Huh. Now, why isn't 2Lie telling the world that MP told people to delete messages? Whoa, wait a minute. Why isn't the 2Lies? Why aren't they telling the world that she said to delete messages? Huh. That's fascinating. And yes, I have removed personal small talk messages about health, etc., as well, since those chats were mixed, and she cannot be trusted. Most of my messages were only strictly working this case and responded to MP and her team. Does 2F number one know I've expressed my concerns in this case beginning over a year ago, long before that lawsuit was filed? Huh. And Super D, I have zero mental history and have zero relationship with you. So stop using my name like you're using JH's show for fame. It's his show, not yours. Don't tell me, man, that you started talking about her mental health history. You of all people know that that's below the belt if you're doing that, dude. Come on, man. If you're do not pull that. I hope that's not the case. I hope you folks are not trying to imply something, especially considering, some of the statements that they themselves have made about mental health. I'm not going after anyone's mental health. People have problems. The world has problems, man. People get depressed. They have issues, whatever. But she's like, hey, I don't have a mental health history. Even if she did. Like, considering? Huh. I really hope I'm reading that wrong. She says, but do stay tuned. I did not, quote unquote, flip flop. I collected the entire case before I reported. Just noting, hey, the whole stay tuned thing. Oh, I was picking up everything. Like, again, they called her out. That's the thing. She's talked about specific items. I am very curious what's coming next. She has been delivering. She has my full attention. My full attention on this stuff. If they're going to challenge her on some of this, like, are they going to deny that MP told people to delete messages? Are they going to call her a liar? We've seen how that's gone before. Right? I mean, if they call her a liar on that, she's like, why aren't you guys? Hey, maybe that would be something to address. Are they going to try to spin that one? Are they going to try to add context to it? They might be able, she's disproven other things. Huh, indeed. Like, that might get really interesting. I truly gave my heart and 2 years of my time and money to try to help MP based on her lies to me. My main focus has always been town hall from the start. And for the record, no one before has ever questioned their trust in me until MP. And that says it all. Yeah, you know what, too? I would say this, Shara. Nobody questioned their trust in you until you ask questions. Like I said, I don't, for the umpteenth time, I myself, Megan has stated this, others, many people disagree on things. I actually don't give a shit if people agree with me on something. If I've got something wrong, like Chad's another will point out, hey, you're missing this piece or that piece. You missed the context on this. This is how I've picked up context, and I've put things together over time too. Because there are a lot of people that had a lot of know-how in this case. And they add understanding. There are also, if people disagree, who cares, right? So, like, if a Shara has a different idea on something, you can argue it. It's not my case. Ultimately, it would have been interesting to me, but what really interested me is when I saw a PR team get added, and then I had a lawyer that was involved try to make me stop talking about it, threaten me on items they well know are public record. They would threaten, then invite more media, then make more threats, then tell you, oh, if you don't delete all of those old videos, by the way, you can keep up those old again, Yeah, that really does get me interested, because it makes me wonder what I've missed. I already feel like there's the proverbial smoking gun. There's already been pew-pews involved, so there's that, but I'm talking about the proverbial smoking gun as well. And also, wow, the 2-line number 1 is the perfect stalker for the gig. The perfect stalker. I mean, there's a lot here, Okay, so this is popping this one here. I was trying to see what it was popping up for it. So Sunday, November the 10th. The gator is that little turtle. Is that a little turtle emoji? It doesn't look like a gator. Maybe it's a gator and I can't tell. It's so far away. That's the way that Facebook puts their stuff up. Facebook, you betrayed me. And maybe that is like gator emoji. I can't tell. Baker tells 2-lie. She doesn't owe a public accounting of all the cash. Ooh, look at that cash emoji rolling in to her defamatory pockets. Wait a minute. She doesn't owe a public accounting for the money? That's fascinating. He said that info is for her accountant. I think she's upset again because I won't work for her. So there doesn't have to be a public accounting of all that money that's coming in. Talking about where it's going more, that's crazy, right? Hey, how your money's being used? Nobody needs to know that. That's fascinating. By the way, Patricia, thanks for the 10 there. They tell both sides. That's in quotes there. I've yet to hear them talk about her past, all of her 7 ex-husbands, all of her aliases, her family problems. There's also the gloss over. Again, there's all the threats about silencing and more. All of the damage control, which is funny, but it also tells me there's more. So they're so intent. Like they've been intent on silencing specific people. Like I said, I brought up Slug. The reason I brought up Slug is because he had pieces there that you could see. But look at how much they have focused on Shara. They're dedicating a lot of time to Shara. One of the things that PR does is it damage controls. That is the intention of PR. You've already seen what she has. Again, courtroom. If you think about this just in a courtroom aspect, there's a lot. Janice, thanks for the 10. Jeremy's the first one to hold Lynette and Crook accountable / responsible for their actions. The first one, Lynette and Crook responded with nothing but lies and slander. They'll lose their ass to Jeremy. Well, what's crazy is the people that are supposed to be there helping out the case, they seem to be digging it in even worse. Oh, like I said, I've watched many cases, and people, when you hire people that want to tell you, here's the difference. We watched, again, a very high-profile case get lost, and the person in the driver's seat, they pretty much had everything going for them. The problem was when they hired lawyers and they hired PR and stuff, they hired them based on them backing and back patting what they wanted to do or say. Instead of being good, a good lawyer will tell you things you don't want to hear. You may not like it. It may piss you off. You may argue, but at the end of the day, that's what they're there for. PR and lawyers, they don't tell you. he may end up in a bad place. So, either worst client in the world or the other side of that, or maybe both. I don't know. So, thanks for the vibe. LMNOP, LMOP said in her deposition she was deleting messages. Damn. Oh no. L-Mob. It sounds like a bad, it sounds like a really bad puppet. L-Mob, what do you have to say today? What letters can we learn? And attention to line number 1 in BBB. The public is asking for a full accounting. That's right. To line number 1. Better Business Bureau. For a full accounting of every penny pulled in on the child's name. We want to see printed pages of all the Cash App cash. Look at that cash emoji as well. Also, all Super Chat product sales, as well as a full accounting where every penny went. We'd also want to see all $50 self-advertising prison-style fence banners that were sold and the cost to make such banners. So she is somebody that has donated money. This is very interesting. She is somebody that has put in money, is asking for an accounting of where the money's gone. She is publicly stating that she would like to know where that money went. Now, that is a very interesting thing because we're not just talking about some rando, like say just a me or somebody else saying, hey, what is all that money being utilized for? Now you have somebody that has put not just time, but finances on the line. And they're like, hey, where is that money and other money? Where specifically is that gone? They're not just asking again for a synopsis, They want a full inventory. They don't want the Cliff Note version. They want the college class version, baby. That's when it gets fascinating. You gotta tell them no. You tell them that they can't. You tell people like backers and stuff. If what's fascinating is there's actually been commentary. So there's a couple of groups that keep up with this, and there have been some commenters that have said things like that too. They wanted to know what's happening with money, like how much money has been raised, not just like publicly raised. Again, not just in the name of, but in the name of children too. Like what's happening with the money? Where's it going? Who's it going to? Sales and stuff. If they're being utilized, like who's garnering that money? Are you taking any money for yourselves? Is it all going there? What do things cost? There is no break. See, that's where things get really fascinating, by the way. Because there is no breakdown of where this stuff is actually supposed to go, what costs are going to be. When you hear about like no contractor and no associate, you go, where did those costs come from? There's no stated contractor. Where does the pricing come from? And that is interesting to also want to put up advertisement banners. I do like the statement about them being prison style fence banners too. Oh my God. BBB is reviewing and altering his client's audio interview about me. That's funny. BBB. Better Business Bureau, Bruce. I love it. BBB. The Bruce, the Better Business Bureau himself. I just love it. I love I love it. Bruce, the Better Business Bureau. That's why I called it Better Business Bureau earlier. Why not let it ride, BBB? Did you call me a C again? Huh. Let's see what else is here. She's also telling people, she's responded to people saying, they say Jeremy Hales controls what his supporters say and do, yet the fleas need Bruce's permission to post something. Well, that's interesting. But according to him, he's not working with them. Huh. Wait a minute. That's a weird statement, isn't it? So Jeremy Hales is the puppet master. And yet Bruce's permission needs to be garnered when you're posting? That's fascinating. Hey, what's this, Shara? Man, Shara's having fun times. I love it. Here's the AI. Commenters express support for Shara, praising her courage and truth-seeking. One commenter notes a history of threats and slander from certain individuals, while another commends Shara for exposing the lies and taking away bullies' power. Some criticize individuals for hypocrisy and intimidation tactics. Huh. I love it. Oh, man. Man, fuck. Gross. Let me roll back down. Give me a second. All right, there it is. It doesn't like to back up, and it doesn't like to do things. She also notes on the 10th, wow, Two Lies number 1 is stalking my page live while she defames me. She's like, hey, so she's stalking my page live. She's talking all this smack. Again, motivating Shara to talk. Good job. What they could have done was walk away, but they've dug it in so deep now. It reminds me again, if it is indeed true that somebody's pumping it behind there, telling them to go for it, that does make sense, because that tactic reminds me of someone else. Instead of hitting the gas little and then being like, well, that was a mistake, and then hitting the brakes, they tap the gas and they're like, nope. That building in front of us, let's just run through it. Not very good. She's so upset, but I remain quiet for her. I refuse to work with her. MP must be so excited as she fits so perfectly into the pod. Dooley's stated all the cash emoji pouring in belongs to her as quote-unquote gifts and is not going to be accounted for because it belongs to her. Does the BBB? Does he agree? Oh, man, look. I mean, it's so much goodness. Look at this. This is like presents. I feel like Christmas some days. I feel like I'm having a Christmas time. I'm not going to pull up like they all look on. It's like Christmas. I don't feel like I can do them all. And I'm going to miss some stuff. I feel like it's Pokemon. I'm trying to collect them all. Sure, I'm trying to collect them all. It's Christmas. Oh, man. Let it snow. Let it snow. Let it snow. Precious. It's snowing. Is she okay? All that physical violence the two leads brag about, and the two lies, and two lies, number 1's anger bursts when she's asked for accounting of all the cash flying in, and she uses the child's name, seems concerning. Huh. That's interesting. Also, on November 9th, 2024. Again, you notice when these are posted. They're posted 19 hours ago. So this is new stuff, just to know. L number 1 said I worked myself into the legal team to get information. Whoa. So they're telling you, are they actually doubling down on the idea that you were a spy for Jeremy? Really? What the fuck, man? Like, that's pretty messed up, because what that ends up doing is it ends up putting every statement into the freaking into play, I think. If they're trying to say, oh, you wormed your way in to get info. Info emoji. WTF? Is that the new angled BBB? Actually, I was on the case a full year before you crashed in and heavily pursued me, and then you deputized me into privilege, a small window emoji of questionable privilege to lock down and control my story. Huh. So your two lies have it backwards. Who told them this lie? It's also interesting how she mirrors what you stated to me, but you're not working together as you make legal threats to silence me. Are you and your team trying to intimidate a journalist on a story? I would say you're attempting me to leak privilege and defend myself, but that won't be necessary. Stay tuned. Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh, wait. Let me check back into my reporter on the floor. Give me 1 second. Reporter on the floor. How are you doing? Russell Crowe. Are you not entertained? Yes, Russell Crowe is entertained. Thank you, reporter on the Holy God. There's so much of it. I mean, see how much is here. Ah. Two lie number one just asked if anyone has questions about the donations, quote unquote. And then she quickly corrected herself and called it all cash emoji, gifts, and gift cards. Is she skimming cash? Cash emoji from gifts? All that anger in response to accounting questions says a lot. Well, that is an interesting thing, isn't it? And there's more. There's a lot more like little, like, again, I don't want to call them little answers, but I'm talking about pop downs. You can actually see where there's more replies. There's quite a bit more that's popping up in here. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and there. I do want to note, like I said, she she had them all communicating with her. Again, they pretend that she doesn't have the ability to discuss what's going on. But they, again, like some of these, again, they were talking about emails and DMs. They were trying to imply that all of this stuff is somehow protected. Again, you can tell what this is. Messages. And so on, right? Like I said, it's fascinating because I get the feeling that this is just the tip of the iceberg. I actually want to talk to Veteran Nation again, by the way. And now that Veteran Nation has pretty much been, all of his stuff has been vindicated. All of his concerns, all of his statements, the statements that they were saying were lies. Nobody was out there trying to flag down his channel. Nobody was trying to take him down. I wonder what he thinks about all of this. Because he had an interesting time from where we last spoke to him to now. Him, Squid Pro Quo. I think there's a lot of fascinating people to talk to. Shara. I have a feeling the Shara stuff is just going to get hotter and hotter. I mean, we still haven't gotten to the Jamie Johnson stuff. We will get there, by the way. We have the messages, and it ties into that video about removal. But I get the feeling, again, from that one statement talking about other stuff tied in, I get the feeling we might not be done with. That's the one name that comes up. Maybe it could be somebody else. But I get the feeling that's where some of this is going because of the fishing expedition and more. So it'd be really fascinating to see what comes from that. But We'll see. So anyway, I wanted to share this with you. All that damage control, all of that, again, Shara's calling damage control. It's not just damage control for the statements that she's made, but it also, she's saying that there's more damage control going on because of money that has been donated. She's asking for a full accounting. And the full accounting seems to be something that people, they seem to have a problem with. So that could get really interesting. I don't know. I don't know, but it might be fascinating, right? Lady Tammy, what's up? Thanks for 3 months. With the ranch being sold, is he moving? How long until those advertisers ask for a refund because their target market is moving? Yes, indeed. I mean, you know, their hopes, I suppose, were that anytime that something was filmed for security reasons, their channel might actually be broadcast on a larger channel. Hopefully they could get their little channels like out there. That's so precious, by the way. Give them a little hug. It does make me, I saw another channel like getting on the pulpit talking about bullies and liars, and I thought that's fascinating. You have this you have like certain people, like I said, I wonder, are some people naive as fuck? Are they hoping, like, again, that they get a little bit of that delicious clout, clout smeared on a biscuit? Maybe it tastes good, or are they part of that what the hell's media ecosystem that's been mentioned? You know, the thing that could probably get you sued. Because again, when you're admitting that you are willing to be part of something that is trying to bury somebody, anything, again, to take their channel down and more, including some questionable phrasing. Gotta wonder, right? But anyway, let's leave it here tonight. I think it's been fun. I think we had about 2 hours of this. I think it's been plenty. What a way to start the week, right? Tomorrow we should be talking to the Megalodonus. That'll be a fun one. I hope Megalodonus makes some plans tomorrow, so something big will happen. Anytime I say I'm going to cover something interesting happens. Anytime she says she has like big plans for something she has to do throughout the day or something, usually like some giant something drops into the case. So I'm really hoping that happens. But we will be doing that tomorrow. So anyway, in the words of one Shara, stay tuned. And I appreciate you. We'll see you next time.